When is the first time you heard the term Chicano rap?
Okay, well, people used to ask me, what's the name of this music, So I used to have on the back, brum brum music. I thought of different things to call it. I was gonna call it Pachuco Hop because of my uncle, Chuck Higgins. And so I just said, well, I'll call this Chicano rap. And so I put out a compilation called Chicano rap. And so it stuck. And that's what I think I referred to it at the beginning,
So you were the first that you know of that said the term Chicano rap?
Yeah, I know
that
him.
Okay, damn, man, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it stuck, and so everybody's start calling it that too.
Okay. Damn, that's crazy.
But Chicano rap was kind of because I wanted to do rap for Chicanos, in the barrio. I wanted to rap that was barrio centric. So that was my idea to do, and
you heard it here. The creator of Chicano rap right here. Norwalk Records, Norwalk Swap Meet, Compton Swap Meet, Rhodium Swap Meet, Santa Fe Springs. There were so many places to buy music back then. Can you talk to us about how you built relationships with swap meets back then and how you got your tapes on the shelves and who were some of your best clients?
Okay, well, what helped was I did have a background in sales, going business to business. So that part I knew gave me an edge because I knew how to go into a store, open up an account, and so forth. And I'd say the first people who I started approaching, this guy named Vince. He worked he owned the store, record shop on Linwood Marketplace, right there,
Imperial, exactly.
Long Beach Boulevard. So I went there, me and Vince became good friends, and he was supporting music. Mr. Kim, Compton Swap Meet. Yeah, so I grew up right down the street from Compton Swap Meet. Yeah, so, Tucker and Chester. So, I was familiar with, Swap Meet and so forth. So, I was there before there was Swap Meet. It used to be Sears.
Yeah.
But
get your school shopping, huh?
Yeah, but I was familiar. So, I went in there, of course, and he supported the music from day one. And I was teaching at Carson High School, so I went to the Swap Meet there. And so I just went to where I knew the people first. And so I opened up accounts there and gave them some samples to play, because I knew if people heard it, they would buy it. So I did that. Then I hit the streets with the music. Back then we had cassettes, no CDs, so forth. So I remember having my TA at school just help me put the tapes together, because back then we had to glue them and all that. So what really kicked it off first, I said, well, let me go to where the people are. And so I drove out to Santa Ana. And so I saw like a group of guys. So they're all walking down the street. I think it was Bristol.
Okay.
And so I saw them. I pulled over. Said, what's going on? How y'all doing? And so I said, I want you to check this out. I had the cassette for 18 with a Bullet. And so they were like looking at it, hey, my plan was just to go to Santa Ana, flood the market with tapes, just give them all out, just to get a buzz going. And then the guy said, hey man, how much is this? And I was like, oh.
Bright light over your head, huh?
So I said, okay, it was a cassette, so, $2.
Okay.
They sold for what, $3 in the store?
Yeah.
So $2. It was like, oh, feel me. So did that. Next thing I know, same thing, everywhere I went. And then I went to the swap meet there in Anaheim, indoor, and there was a lady named Annie, and she supported it, and she was pushing it hard. And so next thing you know is just start playing in the swap meet, and then I'd drive down the street and I'd hear the record.
Damn.
Everybody was bumping it, and So we probably did that first single maybe 10 times because we never could get the bass right. So we were like busting people's speakers, you know, left and right. And so and the guys would come up, hey man, you know, the tape, you know, blew my speakers out and stuff. So it's like, yeah, you know. So and then from there it just started building and building and building, you know. You know, at the school, that was since you know, Spanish Fly you know, went there, so it got a buzz in the school, and swap meet was around the corner, so people started supporting it. And then Vince, who I mentioned earlier, he connected me with some people like for better distribution. And so shoots right off the top, I had the biggest buzz on the street. You know, our record was probably, you know, it's probably #1.
And what year are we talking again?
This is probably 91.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, you know, I'm sure it was #1.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it was, you know, ironically, I remember it hit 18
with the bullet.
With the
Damn,
bullet, you know,
on the chart. Really?
And so,
wow.
And that was with no airplay, you know, nothing. So, so we had a good start.
Damn. Talk to us about Norwalks Most Wanted, how that whole thing came about.
One of my first accounts too was a guy named Tony Waters, and he had a stand in the Norwalk indoor swap meet. And he eventually moved to Ohio, and then I ended up buying a stand in there. So that was kind of my home base, Norwalk. And so if anybody wanted to meet with me, you know, that's what, you know, I had.
So you were there in the 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I saw you back there because that was one of my spots.
Yeah, so I had a booth there. Ended up getting a big booth, and then next door like a little office booth.
Okay.
So you know, that was home base, and so I would say, you know, Norwalk was probably the home base of everything. So in the neighborhood there was Norwalk's Most Wanted, and Tony Waters, who as I said had to stand there before, and he was very influential in the neighborhood because he played all the underground stuff, and the community would always check with him on what's new. And so he had found a group and basically brought them to me, and so they had real gritty street sound, and they kind of moved Chicano rap to different areas because I think there was a Norwalk in Connecticut. And so we were getting that kind of brought it, you know, to the East Coast.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and so somewhat like the Cypress Hill effect.
Exactly.
You know, so
yeah, East Coast, West Coast, where they from?
Chicano rap.
Yeah.
So yeah, then yeah, they were real hot on the streets. They were more. You could probably define them as more militant.
Exactly.
So they were the first to kind of bring that militant Chicano sound, you know. So, and then, you know, we had after them, I think, or around the same time, Brown Pride, and so, you know, that brought the pride.
Exactly.
You know, so Friday Night was, you know, a big song, you know, so, you know, a foundational song in Chicano rap, and which led to you know, like Lil Rob, and well, except before Night Owl. Well, it started branching out to San Diego. So I signed Night Owl, and we did 3 albums, and
R.I.P. Night Owl, man.
Yeah, rest in peace, Night Owl. And so Night Owl was influential in San Diego, which led eventually to Little One. Yeah. Little One was one of Night Owl's friends, so, you know, it was natural that put out Little One.
Yeah.
Mr. Shadow was around Night Owl at the time because Manny Lopez, Hitman Lopez, very important person in the Chicano rap scene, San Diego. So working with Night Owl, Manny, Little One, Mr. Shadow. So that kind of laid our foundation in San Diego.
So Norwalks Most Wanted, there is a song on the album that has a lore around it. One that was on the original tape, but for reasons that you can explain, was taken off, called Child of Satan, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I regret to say that that's probably one of my favorite, just because of the lore around it. And
Well, I like
the
a lot of mail. Why did you take that off?
that was the one that I remember specifically. It just stood out, and the whole rock and roll thing was big back then with heavy metal and you know, devils and things like that. But why did you decide to not put that on the second edition or the CD version of it?
Well, at that time, I remember clearly I was, you know, I pretty much had the pulse of the music. Wherever way I could take it was where it's gonna go, you know. So we established, you know, pretty much the oldies, rapping.
Exactly.
So, you know, though, yeah, that's been done, you know, since the history, you know, since time, but we kind of just made it an industry.
I mean, this is before, sorry to cut you off, this is before, keep in mind everybody, before Bone Thugs and Harmony was even dabbling in that stuff. You know, this was even before 666 Mafia. This was kind of something rare at that time for a hip-hop group to be talking about what they were talking about in that song, right?
Well, yeah, okay, so again, you know, I remember I'm like right there now. I was thinking, you know, it was going to take different forms, but I didn't want Chicano rap to take a devilish form. If you understand.
Yeah, looking back, I think that was a wise decision, especially as a business owner, especially as someone who's older than everyone. I think that's a wise decision to make.
Yeah. So that was, you know, that was why.
Yeah.
And so I said, because like you said, there were people, you know, every time, you know, Chicano rap, you have people who rap Brown Pride, Sound, Lil Rob, Spanish Fly, Night Out, you know, different styles and stuff. So I thought that, you know, there would probably be a subgenre going into that style. And I was just like, well, I just wanted to keep it more on a positive tip.
Yeah.
But that's why, you know.
That makes sense.
But I remember, you know, during that time, and then I got a lot of mail.
So you did. Tell me about some of the mail. Why? Because that was the one I remember, you know, specifically.
I got a lot of mail.
Yeah, really interesting. Okay.
You know, like I say, well, at the time, you know, pretty much, you know, whatever we put out was going to be what Chicano rap
was going to be.
So I figured, well, you know, I didn't really want to go that direction.
On that album, they dissed Kid Frost, Lighter Shade of Brown, ALT. Did you remember having any words with, you know, Norwalks Most Wanted about that? And did you have any issues with the rappers that they were dissing?
No. Well, when they had the diss record, it was more or less something that was just on the album. You know what I mean? It wasn't like people got together and planned this. So I guess they just did that, you know. So as I mentioned before, they're more like a militant type thing, you know. I don't know if anything provoked the diss or not, but yeah, I guess that was the first diss records. It's water under the bridge, you know, but I guess originally there was some beef, Spanish Fly, Kid Frost, you know, altercation stuff.
Do you know what that was stemmed from, or?
I'd say stemmed from, you know, since, you know, we're bringing in, you know, groups, you know, our first group's pretty much the Harbor area. So we have Brown Pride, Spanish Fly, and so, you know, of course, we're in the studio. We're gonna have the neighborhoods there. You know, they're friends. So I think that beef stemmed from one of the guys in one of their neighborhoods. You know, was hitting up stuff, you know, and they may have hit something up or crossed something out or did something. And I think that was the, you know, what started it. You know.
Street shit, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you still keep in touch with Norwalks Most Wanted, and do you know why they didn't release too much other music after that?
Well, last time I talked to them, and this is a while, you know, long time. So one of the guys that got married, and we were just talking. So he was saying, you know, he enjoyed the experience of Chicano rap, and it may have something to do with how he met his wife or something. But he was just like, you know, he's cool with it. You know, it benefited his life at the time, and he was turned family man. So this last time we talked, that were their sentiments.
Brown Pride from Wilmington, California, which consisted of Aztec, DJ Jam and Jay, MC Pep, and MC Tone, released an album on Familia. Is it true that they were supposed to release a second project, but the audio engineer skipped town and took the recordings and cut ties with everyone?
Long story short, yeah. So we had the second one done, which was like a phenomenal album. You know, everybody put their heart, you know, everything into it. One song that survived that was a song called "If Blasting You Is Wrong." You know, we don't want to be right.
I wanna be right.
Yeah. So that's me singing the hook on there.
Oh, okay.
And then so that's a song that survived that. But yeah, so that was kind of, it's tough, man, when you do an album and then you want to recreate the same thing. It's just
never happens, right? Something's always off a little bit, or
so
I remember you saying in a past interview that that project was one of the best projects you worked on, or something along those lines.
So yeah.
Talk to me about, you know, working on that project and why you felt that way.
Yeah, because you know, we had success with the first one. You know, we knew we had some songs that were better. The group was better. You know, everything. The rapper was better. Music was better. You know, so you could really see improvement. You know, as far as my production, it was better. So you know, it's just one of those things.
Now let's take it up to the 805. Cali Lifestyle. A song called Lost. Talk to me about how they came to be part of the Familia.
Okay, well, I was first introduced to Cali Lifestyle through Tomas Solis. So me and Tomas, you know, real tight, real good friends, you know, real brothers. So we met in LA, and at one of the music days. So Warehouse used to have a music day, and that's where they'll have all the popular groups. And so like that year, I remember Easy was there, Kid Frost, you know, us, and just, you know, whoever was the hottest groups, you know, like College Boys and stuff back then. So it's like 92. And so me and Tomas met there, and so I used to have a big banner that had Familia Records and had the groups on there. So gave that to Tomas, and so we just, you know, him, his brother Gil, which played an important part in Chicano rap. We you know, just became good friends, and so his group was Cali Lifestyle, and so they were in Central Coast, Santa Paula at the time. So they wanted me to come down there, so I went down there, and I liked the group and everything. And so you know, so the way Tomas tells it, you know, I was coming to see the group to bring them in Familia Records, but I thought it was just, you know, it was Tomas' group, so, you know, it's just gonna help them with it. So we had a little miscommunication, but anyway, ended up distributing the album, and so, you know, so me and Tomas were working together, and that was huge for Chicano rap. Helped put it in different areas. So we were mainly LA, San Diego. So that brought to Central Coast, and they had, you know, their own sound, which was great.
Yeah, that song Lost, pretty big hit for you. Can you take us back to that time period and how that song, you know, changed things for you in a positive or a negative way?
Well, like I said, K Lifestyle was, you know, when they came, they were hot, you know. So, you know, back then I had certain releases, you know, so many releases I could kind of release and stuff. So, you know, I even put that ahead of some stuff I had, you know. So they were, you know, it was evident that they were, you know, a great group and a great sound.
Yeah. Now, a lot of the artists on Familia Records were, you know, had a street type of image, you know, may have been involved with certain organizations. Did you guys ever have any issues when you're on the road or at album signings or anything like that because of certain affiliations in the street?
Well, I say when we went up north, there's a lot of issues. You know, actually, there were shootouts, all kind of stuff. That was probably the only issues that we had when touring. You know, but even that kind of settled. I remember one time we had a show, I believe San Jose. It was San Jose, or if I say it. But so we went up there, and so everybody. So Night Owl was the first to perform. So I think on the bill was Night Owl and Brown Pride, and so Night Owl was the first to perform, and so everybody just left. So it was only maybe 5 people in the audience.
Oh, shit.
You know, because of the different things that you mentioned. So I just said, hey, just go on and knock it out, just like it's a packed house. So, you know, performed, did their thing. Brown Pride did their thing, and then afterwards, you know, they had everything was surrounded. You know, so that's when it was a shootout that day. So, you know, but you know, it was kind of more, you know, like, you know, they brought all, you know, pretty much their friends from the neighborhood. So it was just some crazy stuff like that.
Talk to me about your involvement with NOTS, Niggas Off the Street, Kiki Loco, and that whole camp over there.
Okay, well, for some of you guys that don't know, you know, before like the Death Row era and all that, there was a viable underground scene for rap. Okay, so you had people like, you had NOTS, that was Niggas Off the Street, Kiki Loco, then you had Banging on Wax, you know, Ronnie Ron, Tweety Bird Loc, and then, you know, Familia Records with the Chicano scene. We also had Hoodlum Records. So, you know, we were doing a lot of underground stuff. And like we had a group, First Amendment out of Inglewood, and that's Mac 10 came out of that group.
Squeak Crew, Binky Mac.
Yeah. So we were working together. Rock Slinger. We had some underground stuff, and then Kiki Loco. Okay, he was real big on the streets also. So he was like, you know, the first. I guess they argue Banging on Wax or Kiki Loco who was the first, but I'd say, you know, they both were out there. You know, so. But Kiki Loco was out, you know, representing, you know, Kiki Loco go to the swap meet, you know, just all blued up, just, you know, and so it was just, you know, it was like a different time. And so Kiki was doing this thing on the streets, pushing the records, like Ron, Tweety Bird Loc out there, just, you know, pushing it. You had me. And I say
R.I.P. Tweety Bird Loc, man, that 187 drive-by. Whew.
Yeah. You said R.I.P.?
To Tweety Bird Loc. Tweety Bird Loc, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, Tweety Bird Loc passed away.
Oh man, yeah,
it's all good. Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
I got his tape at there was Underworld Records on Alondra and Castlegate in Compton. Yeah, shout out to Big A, man, Big Arnold. That's my dog. That was an interesting time. NOTS, you know, did you have any involvement in the True Blue series? And what do you remember about them going after Banging on Wax with that song Busters on Wax?
Well, you know, they didn't necessarily get along, the two different groups, you know, two different, I guess, factions of the gangster rap there. So, you know, basically they just didn't get along. So probably went deeper, you know, into some street stuff. But me and, you know, Kiki Loco were real tight. You know, me and Banging on Wax and
Sin Loc, all those dudes, man.
Yeah, I was more, you know, with Ron and Tweety Burlow. So because we formed the underground, you know, the underground was me, it was them Banging on Wax, and it was Kiki Loco. So that was it for us.
That's
the
right.
LA scene, you know. And so eventually me and Kiki Loco worked together, you know.
What do you remember about that project gaining a buzz, the True Blue series with Metro, you know, and
like those songs, man, are just, you know,
classic LA.
Gangster, you know?
Yeah.
And I think iRock produced a lot of that. Brian Dobbs, you know, I'm sure if you're familiar with Brian Dobbs, he was the guy with the big afro and the Coolio videos.
Oh, okay.
So when we started actually working, so me and Brian Dobbs were producing the music first, you know. And so I guess he would go and produce Coolio. And actually Coolio's hit track, County Line, was supposed to be for Spanish Fly.
Really? How'd that go about that?
But Rich Rock didn't go to the studio that day.
Really?
So Coolio ended up doing it. So we were all working, you know, yeah, Coolio's studio there.
Okay.
Rascas.
Been on my show a few times, man. That's the boy.
And Brian Dobbs was like the, you know, he was the foundational producer.
I got to talk to Brian Dobbs. I definitely got to talk to him.
Yeah. So, and so, you know, that's how we kind of formed, you know, the underground scene.
Damn, dude. How did Lil Rob get part of Familia Records, man? Talk to us about that.
Lil Rob wrote me a letter.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was his brother wrote me a letter. He was telling me about Lil Rob. So we read the letter. Eventually, we you know, all hooked up and put out Crazy.
And this is before Lil Rob was the Lil Rob that we obviously know to this day.
Right.
Did you see something in him? Did you know that he would be, you know, one of the main factors in Chicano hip hop?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, so already, you know, conceptually, already recognized that he from the beginning. So because we needed, as I mentioned before, we needed a heartthrob for the label.
Okay.
So he fit the bill. I just knew off the top that, you know, all the, you know,
the girls are gonna love him.
Gonna like him. So,
Yeah.
So I pushed Lil Rob hard. I mean, yeah, real hard.
And he was there for a little while, and I know there was some time after where there was some dissing going on. He released something, and then you released something. You know, can you break down what happened there?
Yeah, we went back and forth with this. You know, I guess probably don't hear him, they probably pull him. But yeah, so you know, he eventually go with royalty, so there was friction between me and royalty. Yeah, behind the scenes we were, but so they dissed, you know, me, Familia, whatever. So, you know, so I did, you know, a few raps dissing them, Little Minutes, also did some stuff dissing them. So it was kind of like back and forth, but I don't blame Lil Rob, you know, he's a little kid, so I think he was just getting influenced. But there's, you know, never been no personal stuff.
Who is the artist that you're most proud of that came through Familia Records? I mean, we've named everyone from the Lil Robs to the Mac 10s to the Night Owls to, you know, the Cali Lifestyles, LSD. We didn't even get into them. I mean, so many artists that came through. Who are you most proud of, you know, looking back in hindsight?
Well, a lot for different reasons. Okay, of course, Lil Rob, you know, he probably reached the, you know, highest level. But proud of Brown Pride, you know, coming back right now, MC Pep, making a lot of noise. You know, in fact, we have a project together called Still Familia Forever. That's me, MC Pep, OG Midget Loco, Blue Stomps, Hectic, King Blue out of the 805, and Blue Stomps. So we're continuing the legacy from back then and bringing it forward. But that's something we have going on right now. But also I'm proud of I'm proud of Night Owl from just beginnings. You know, Little One, Down.
Oh yeah,
Down,
of
like
course,
a cholo.
man. Yeah.
So I'm proud of Down. You know.
Oh, Down came through Familia. I don't even think I knew that.
Yeah. No, have you heard of Brown Intentions?
It doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head.
Well, that's Down.
Okay.
And so, you know, Down, I'm proud of, you know, all the things that he did.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm proud of all the guys, just because at the time, it took a lot for a Chicano rapper to be a Chicano rapper. You know, because a lot of Chicano didn't want to rap Chicano rap.
They wanted to be East Coast, West.
You know, so, you know, prerequisite for me, you know, to where I was like, you know, I'm going strictly Chicano rap, you know. So you know, it eventually laid the foundation, you know. You know, I enjoy everything that was happening. Every time you see somebody on stage rapping some oldies or something, or just starting a record label, you know, we started all that entrepreneurial, and, you know, so it just came, you know, me and Tomas and you know, everybody, Manny, you know, just, you know, we have Mr. D, Royalty, so Capone, so everybody, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit, you know, which Familia Records just kicked off, you know.
Yeah,
and it's still living today, you know.
Now, you mentioned you have a project coming up, Still
Familia Forever.
Talk to us about that, and what else do you have coming up, man, that we can promote? And if there's anything else that you would like to promote, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, we have Still Familia Forever. That's myself, MC Peps, Brown Pride, OG Midget Loco, Blue Stomps, King Blue out of the 805, Hectic out of 714, Aztec Tribe out of San Diego. So, you know, we formed an association, and so we have content, music coming out. MC Peps has his album coming, Midget Loco, Blue Stomps has something coming out, King Blue, myself, I have maybe 2 albums coming. So I'm doing basically, the album consists of Chicano rap, you know, it's kind of regular rap, R&B, oldies vibe R&B. So I pretty much finished the album and just really working on the second. So I've been in Thailand. I went there, kind of just, you know, relax, you know, just free my mind and concentrate on the music. And so finished the album out there. You know, I might go back for about 5 more songs, but I you know, pretty much did about 15 songs out there. So
nice.
Hear a lot of stuff from, like I say, Still Familia Forever.
Hell yeah, man. Murray Brumfield, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Hey,
yeah.
Pleasure.